Spontaneous speaking video 43.
Oh man, I wanted to do it with you. Oh wow.
So what's up, y'all? I'm over at David's place.
Yeah.
And I actually wanted to give David the opportunity to introduce his YouTube channel, Creative Kwame's. I want y'all to follow that channel, subscribe to it. He has some great content on there. You know, support my boy. Get a little bit more on the camera, son. Yeah, and I'm actually he's gonna be doing most of the talking over here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna introduce his channel, what he does on there, and then basically we're gonna talk about his latest video and some thoughts that revolve around there.
Yeah.
So yeah, you go ahead and take it away, son.
So my channel, I made it with another friend of mine called Kwame. It's a good friend of mine. He's actually ENFP, so that was interesting. But
That's his African name, by the way, Kwame.
Yeah. But my friend Kwame, he's actually Caribbean. He's Bayesian actually. So yeah, isn't it? But we just came together and we just decided that we liked to make a lot of films. We're working on comics too. It was just a whole bunch of different things, and it was just like a think tank whenever we got together. So it was beautiful. So we just came together. We decided to just do videos, and we love making them. So we decided making videos, but things slowed down for reasons I'm not going to disclose. But we'll be getting back to it, and I'm holding it down for right now. I'm starting with a series called Welcome to My Window. Now it's a series where basically I use this whole quote at the beginning of every video, and I say, "Welcome to my window, where I'm transparent enough to let you use your screen, as in like your computer screen or your phone screen, whatever screen that you're using, to peer into my mind." So it's basically like a looking glass or a literal window in which I let you peer into whatever I'm thinking of most at that present time. So it may be my fears, it may be what I've grown with, it may be certain philosophies that I've been thinking of, it may be just even silly stuff or stories. I'm gonna do a lot of short stories too, based on my personal experiences, but it's more of trying to not only share my art, but make sure that people are learning something by the time the video is done. So it's not just purely just so that people can watch me draw. It's not purely just so that people can listen to a story or listen to me. But mainly I'm trying to bring it all around so that we all learn something, we have a discussion, we can expand upon it, and that we can be better for it at the end of the video. That's mainly the purpose for each and every one of the videos. You'll notice a trend at the end where there's sort of a moral or a lesson at the end in which I'm encouraging people to chase after something, whether it be to chase down negative things that come up in their mind, or to chase after aspirations that they may have, or basically just trying to encourage people in every way that I think would be beneficial to them.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, you have about 3 so far?
Yes, I'm about to release the third one tomorrow,
right.
Wednesday.
I just got it pre.
Yeah. We were talking about it
that
earlier.
One's gonna be sick. Y'all don't want to miss that one.
Yeah, that one's. I'll let you know the title. It's based on perception versus reality, and it's a really intriguing topic that I like to explore a lot, actually.
And honestly.
So it's actually one of my favorite things to talk about.
Nice. And so what was your latest one on again?
My latest one was on colorism and beauty. So I want to turn this into a discussion now.
Okay.
So in the video, I talk about basically what I perceive to be as beauty. Now, when I was younger, I had a specific image of what I thought a beautiful woman was. And she was light-skinned, basically, curvaceous, long hair. But that was basically what I had been, I wouldn't say programmed, but conditioned to view as beautiful by many facets of the media, experiences, people, relationships and stuff like that. And I had never questioned why I had the preference. Now, usually especially these days, but it wasn't until I was questioned about why I had that specific preference that I began to actually deep dive into what I thought beauty was. Because of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You can't really subject someone else's preferences to your own, blah blah blah. But they do have a right to ask you, at least. Yeah. And you do have the option to think about why you like what you like. So why do you like what you like? Not only in terms of women, but I'm talking about anything. You can think of anything and then just give me why you like it.
Well, I like the color red because it symbolizes leadership, in my opinion. I always saw, it's the first color of the rainbow, and the Red Ranger was always seemingly the leader. So ever since I was younger,
dope. He was always better than everybody else.
Yeah, I just always admired leadership when I was a child. So the red became a symbol of that. So I guess that's one reason. But yeah, when it comes to stuff like light skin versus dark skin, we were just even talking about this as I watched the video. I was like, honestly, I don't know. Like maybe I do have some underlying reasons as to why I would prefer one over the other or something like that. But I mean, to be honest, maybe it's because I'm an FE user, not an FI user, so I don't really take the time to think about, why do I feel this way? Why do I like this that much or whatever it is? But even so, either way, I'm gonna just put this out there. I'm gonna clarify right now. I do not think that light-skinned women are better than dark-skinned women, or dark-skinned women are better than light-skinned women at all.
Wait,
I would never
date.
I've dated a whole bunch of dark-skinned
I was just like, wait,
women.
what? Why are you just okay? Go ahead.
So,
yeah,
you got to put out this.
You're right.
For all those people out there, I be getting some bad comments every now and then.
Oh yeah. hey.
Nah,
always there.
Not really. Not as much, thankfully. But don't start.
But yeah, I guess it wasn't directly asked why I had a specific preference, but it would be people like to police one another based on their own views and stuff like that. So of course, if I had a specific preference, it was only mixed girls at the time, for a specific amount of time. It wasn't like I disqualified dark-skinned girls, but I didn't give them as much leeway or room as much as I did light-skinned girls. It wasn't like an equal playing ground. So it was I did talk to and I did have interest in dark-skinned girls, but it wasn't nearly as much as I had for light-skinned girls. So it wasn't on the same playing ground. And that's why I was okay, maybe this is something I should look into. So for a year and a half, I started diving. I asked more questions and I get deeper into the video, but I had a whole, I don't know, I was peeling back layers of what I thought to be true in my own psyche. And I was just okay, why do I think this is beautiful? Why do I value this? And there's a whole lot of stuff that was actually revealed to me. And I was just wow, this is actually kind of shallow.
As you're even talking about this, first off, it reminds me of the song Shallow by Andy Mineo. Y'all should check that one out. It's a really good song, because God loves me despite how much of a mess I'm is. I'm writing off shawties whose bodies is less impressive. Dang, that. So it's a really good song. Y'all should check that out. So that just came to mind. But another thing that I was just pondering was, we go to the same church here in New York. It's a Ghanaian church, African church, and most of the people there, I'm realizing, because as you were talking, I'm pondering on what you're saying, and I'm thinking to myself, and I'm shoot, maybe this might be one of the reasons. I remember distinctly that whenever, most of the people there are dark skinned, they're like me and David's color, or maybe just a little bit lighter, but that I'll tell you 85 to 90% of them are.
Yeah. And
so when we all of a sudden see, I remember that whenever a light-skinned girl would come to the church, all of the dudes be and maybe that's why. Because if it was a white girl too, everybody, not even just dudes, everybody, but oh shoot, that's different. And so maybe because since it's not as common, or it's more rare, and that's why, for me, possibly it could have been that way. I mean, but again, I'm just tossing out here.
I mean, that's what I wanted. I wanted a discussion. So but then again, you could also say that, I know you've said before that just for concerning INFJs, just because it's rare doesn't mean it's the best,
right?
And I feel there's that. Yeah, I agree. However, I feel that distinction should also be made when it comes to light skins, where it's just or even white girls, or any other type of yes, it's different, which is good. There's nothing wrong with different, but at the same time, I feel a lot of men, especially black men in particular, make the distinction. They don't make the distinction between rare and best. And I feel like that's why they say, oh, this one is better because there's less of it. But that may not even be the case at all, because I'm sure there's plenty of light skin somewhere.
There's a lot.
And yet still, in those places, it may be more likely that they'll value the light skin over the dark skin.
Yeah, I actually never really even understood, like, I remember, thank God it was like a year or two ago, and it's not going on anymore, but I remember that there used to be like the team dark skin versus team light skin stuff. That was so annoying to me, because it's like, why are we dividing amongst fighting people? And even like, I remember when I was growing up, like I said, I'm African. I was born here in New York, but my parents are from Ghana. And I remember growing up, I'm dark skinned, and literally none of the white people ever talked about me or my skin color back in school, like when I was growing up in middle school. No, it was not. But the black people, the African Americans, as soon as the lights would go off, people that were even like the same color as me, they're like, hey, where'd Denzel go? Smile, so we can see you. It's like, come on, dude, really?
You're just a few shades lighter than me. What you talking about?
Not even a few, probably like one shade lighter. Like, and I just never understood, like, why can't all black people just like, be one? Like, why do we have to like split ourselves? Like, oh, team dark skin, team light skin. I mean, we can acknowledge those differences, but at the same time, like, we shouldn't tear each other down. That's how I feel about it.
If you want to get deep with it, I think it goes down to conditioning, dog. Like, I think it. Like,
oh,
I think it stems
I already
back,
know where you're going with this.
Yeah, I think it. I mean, let's not. You know what? Yeah, let's get heavy. Let's get heavy, man. Because I think it stems back from the days of slavery. If we're being honest, like, you had the light skins or the lighter skinned people up in the house, and you had the house slaves, and then you had the field slaves.
Yeah.
Like, people with darker skinned people, they were out in the fields just picking that cotton, and that's where like that separation came, where it's like it's more of a friction between two halves of the same people.
Yeah.
In which you have people who are lighter skinned, who are more valued and can be in the house with the master, and then you have those who are darker skinned who have to toil every single day and probably get beat and whipped more often, and that comes from a sort of self-hatred. Now, coming out of that, you didn't have anything to rectify that, because there were no like reparations. There was nothing to like try and heal all the scars that were happening for 300 years.
Right.
Mind you, that was like what, 100 years ago?
Yeah.
And we still have a whole bunch of things to fix within our own community. I mean, there's a plethora of things that we need to fix. I mean, we're not going to be perfect, but looking at the circumstances, look at even the media, man. I'm talking about like music videos and like even movies. That were like you're watching as you grow up, especially in the 90s, man. Like for a lot of people our age now, that was like the golden era. So if you take a whole bunch of those statutes and values that were placed within us, and you attach them to skin color or stature or I don't know, body type and like features, then you have a whole bunch of values and principles and desires that are attached to a certain type of person, and those things become personified within this image. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that I actually totally agree.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a deep-seated issue in which you may not have actually. Even Kodak Black. This is where it got serious. Like a couple weeks back, he got trashed. Now, I don't even know like what's gonna happen to his like reputation, like his career now, but he got trashed by the media because he specifically said that something along the lines that he didn't like black girls, well, darker skinned girls.
No, I remember that. I remember that.
What he said was more favorable towards the light skinned girl, and that's when people were like, "Oh, nah, we're not having it," and then started this whole discussion about preferences. Are you allowed to? And one person, Joe Budden, he even said, you can have those preferences, but don't say them out loud. I'm like, wait a minute, what? You can have, like, because now there's like, now when a man talks about his preferences, he has to do all this dancing around and stuff like that, because you don't want to offend anybody, and you don't want to put down one by saying you like another, and that's what happens a lot, and it's a shame, and that's why I had to figure out, like, okay, if I find myself saying I like darker skinned girls, I like light skinned girls because darker skinned girls are this way or they don't have this, that's when there's a problem, because now you're valuing one thing by the lack of that the other thing has.
Okay, so I guess we already went deep. But I guess this is just the last thing that maybe I might bring up, unless it spirals into something else,
Hey, bring it,
spontaneous. But do you think that same thing would apply to like girls who, you below 5'9"?
Speak on it.
I don't know, man. Look, if you're not 5'10" and above, if you're not 6 foot and above.
Okay, the reason why I don't think that one is talked about enough is simply because these days, let's face it,
Because that's a preference too.
it is. But let me bring it around. Let me bring it right back. The reason why I feel like that's not talked about these days is because usually the oppressed are somehow the victors these days. Like people who are oppressed, because they're oppressed, they're more sympathized with them. Because they're more sympathized with, people will more likely rally towards them. And women are oppressed beyond all comprehension. Like I can't even understand it, being a man. You know what I'm saying? So of course they're going to be heard and they're going to be sympathized with by all types of communities because we need women. And they should be valued, and they are undervalued. Now, when it comes to their preferences, we don't talk about that much because we're too busy talking about what needs to be said, such as, things like wages and equal representation and all these type of things. And that stuff isn't really talked about as much. Whereas a woman not being valued as much as another woman because of her skin color, that's more of a pressing issue.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not discrediting the fact that that is a problem. I mean, but I think it also, the main reason why they may say that is because they don't want somebody who's shorter than them, and they feel more security with somebody who's taller.
Yeah.
Now, to attribute all this value to someone who is just because he's tall, and how somebody may be cuter just because he's tall.
There's mad dudes
that happens.
that if they weren't as tall as they were, mad girls wouldn't like them.
It's very true.
And there's mad dudes that if they were just a little bit taller, mad girls would like them. So that's why it's like.
Yeah, I mean, like it's
that's a preference too.
I think that
but
also
I couldn't even blame them because like I would just think to myself. I mean, like everybody has their preferences.
Right.
But then so that's why when it came to the light skin versus dark skin thing, I was like, well.
It's just another preference.
It's just another preference. Like you cannot help that you're more attracted to taller people. Fine.
I mean, but then
I cannot really help that I'm more, whatever. So like I can't force myself like find this person attractive or whatever. Or they can't force themselves to be like find this person more attractive. So that's how I thought that it possibly was.
Well, I okay. If we're honest, I think conditioning like that may. I'm not saying for all cases, I'm generalizing here, but it may actually be worse for women. Like, think of phrases like tall, dark, and handsome. The very first phrase in there is tall.
Yeah.
Like, they need something like, and if you think about, like, you see what I'm saying?
Now.
And so, like, if you think about, like, women are usually said, I'm not saying this is always true, but women are usually said to be more attracted to, like, romance novels or movies.
Yeah.
So if you think about stuff like that, that type of conditioning may involve the reinforcement of ideas like a tall man or a big and strong man, because that's what women are said to like. And because women in the past have said to like that, it's been reinforced over and over and over into the ideal man.
Yeah.
It's another type of conditioning made by the media and our community and by experiences. People just like what they like. But if you actually take time to think about what you like, I mean, a lot of women have come out and said, hey, I like short guys.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. And things are changing. But at the same time, I think it's at least worth the effort to look into why you may have certain preferences over another.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it did make sense. I think I'm about to like just be like really typical Effie Dom here and just be like, we should just love everyone. Like real talk. Like I'm dead serious. Like I've never been a fan of bashing anyone, making myself feel better than somebody else, making this person seem better than that person. Like, like even stuff like, so who looked better? Rihanna or Beyonce? It's like, they both look good. It's alright.
Why do you always gotta put
I could possibly ask like, who do you think is prettier? And
that's your preference.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. It's like, okay. But then if we try, like, people will say, like, Rihanna's way better. Yeah. It don't matter. Rihanna is not even thinking about how much prettier she is than Beyonce. Beyonce's
got her own things to do.
Yeah, like, just leave it alone. We don't have to be like, like, what? Like, you'll see somebody retweet something like, or somebody will tweet something like, Rihanna looks better than Beyonce, and then somebody will quote it like, "What? Who lied?" You know, and it's like, this is an objective. Preference is opinion, is preference, but even then we should not push somebody else lower just to boost somebody else higher. I just genuinely feel that we should just all be on the same playing field and just love everyone. I believe that you can have your preferences, because we all have preferences. I spoke about this in my video, special treatment for attractive people. And I said the story about Peach, who went to Bojangles, and every time she went with these two dudes, they got a free meal from the girl because, according to Peach, they were two light-skinned, cute boys. But she always had to pay for her meal. That's messed up. Like, come on. You know, like, to me, I just think we should just treat everyone equally. And if you have that preference, that's fine. But don't let it come out in a way that it's like treating other people special.
But that's exactly the policing the preference that a lot of people get on, like they got on my case for. For example, like, you see, I told them that I had a preference towards mixed girls.
You like to swirl.
Exactly, right? And yes. they were getting on me because it seemed like I was putting down darker skinned girls for light skinned girls. So even in the smallest ways, it can come out.
Yeah, I know, but like, I feel like that's not. Because then if somebody told me something like that, I would literally tell them, okay, so what do you want me to do? Like, literally.
What do you want me to do so I can do for you?
Yeah, like, do you want me to go get hypnotized? Like, it's just what.
But in that example, the waiter's preference, the waiter's actions were led by her preferences. Like, her biases were led by indirect, like, connection.
I feel like that's different.
It's drastic.
You're giving
it's drastic,
somebody...
but I'm talking about like in smaller instances where the same rule may apply. It may not be as drastic as that, but that's just prejudice, to be honest. Yeah, and I think that distinction should be made. Like, don't let your preferences turn into prejudice. But it's something to think about.
Yeah, and it even goes down to even like just a little bit deeper. Like to me, everything is just more based on like personality. If we're gonna like treat anybody differently, I think that we should do it not based on like personality type, but I mean like you as an individual personality. Like, okay, so no offense, but you from saying that waiter thing just reminded me of when we went to, I forgot what that place was downtown, but where the girl she gave me like, what was it, a 75% discount?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But then she charged you full price.
Yeah.
I walked up to her and I was just naturally polite. I smiled, all of that. David's not really the most polite, you know.
I'm not as warm as he is.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, like from that one, maybe I'm biased because it was me, but I don't think I'm being biased. Like, I could understand how she was like, oh, he was really extra nice. So now if she just gave it to me just because I looked better or something, I'd be like, no, come on, that's not right.
Right.
Or vice versa, if she gave it to you because you look better, you were taller than me,
right,
that wouldn't be right. But if you treat her nice, well, all right, cool, I can understand that. So, yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's just how I feel. Like I said, like me, I just think that we should just need to love everyone. Just need to love everyone. Just treat everyone fairly, you know. Like, and if you have preferences, like don't bash other people. Don't bring them down. Don't bring other people down for that reason. Don't look down at people who are shorter. No pun intended. And don't look down at people who are like darker or lighter or whatever the case may be. Like, judge people for their character and hold space for people. That's how I feel. I don't know if you have any last words about that.
Nah, man.
But
this is good.
Yeah, it was like a podcast like that.
That was a good discussion, man.
It was.
We should have more of these.
But anyway, yeah, so make sure to follow David's page, Creative Kwames. That's Kreative Kwames.
Look at you, spelling bee. Okay,
you know,
I see you out here.
Hopefully I can find a little subscribe button down there I'm still figuring out how to work YouTube, but it should be there if I figured it out by now. Anyways, thanks for watching. Done.